We've all seen the photos of gorgeous luxury resorts in places like Maldives, Bali, and Bora Bora. But have you ever checked the price tag on some of these properties? You probably choked on your drink and then wrote it off as just a dream. I mean, seriously, is that price tag actually worth it? Hi, I'm Annie. I'm a frequent traveler and I run the account Average Girl Does Cool Things. And as someone who spent the last 3 years taking multiple luxury adventures, I'm going to tell you the good and the bad, and then leave it to you to decide for yourself if it's something that you want to add to your bucket list. So let's get into it. But before we do, be sure to hit that subscribe button for more travel inspo and how-to content. Okay, let's start with the good stuff, the pros. Luxury travel really prioritizes time, convenience, and safety. Saving time, in particular, is a huge part of luxury travel. People who purchase luxury travel are usually very busy individuals, and so they don't want to waste time sitting around in lines, going through security checkpoints, waiting for their meals. So luxury travel really integrates these time savers in to cater to these types of people. So what do those things look like? Well, first of all, you've got the VIP meet and greet. So you don't have to worry about if you filled out your customs form wrong or where to go, or if you don't speak the language. This person literally greets you when you get off the plane, walks you through customs and immigration, and then puts you in a vehicle to your final destination. It's pretty amazing. And honestly, if I could only pick one thing out of luxury travel to take with me anywhere I go, it would be the VIP meet and greet experience. Another time thing is private transfers. Things like private cars or even private plane charters that get you to your destination directly without having to deviate or deal with figuring out tickets or any of the other stuff that comes along with public transportation. Those private direct transfers save so much time and stress. And then checking into a hotel, they're great about whisking you straight through. They get your bags up there for you, and it's all just to save you time and be more convenient. The second thing that's amazing about luxury travel is the access. You can get some of the most amazing, unique experiences if you're willing to pay for them. And you know the right people. For example, I was recently on a luxury tour to Egypt. And when we went out to the pyramids, we had a private 1-hour access period just for our group to go into the pyramids from 12 to 1. Now this was spectacular because the pyramids are very confined and closed in and cramped. So if you had to go in there with a bunch of other people, a bunch of strangers who are like trying to navigate the passageways, that is a recipe for like a claustrophobia breakdown. That private access was so clutch. We also had an amazing private experience with the Sphinx, where we got to go down into the Sphinx area instead of being up on the catwalks along the sides, which is where most people can see the Sphinx from. We actually got to go down into the Sphinx area, sat there, had a private lecture by the director of the Giza complex, and then got to walk around the Sphinx. And it was incredible. That's not something that we could have just done with regular access. So you have experiences like this, you have skip the line tours, things that help you to pack in even more into your trip, which is really especially important if you are short on time. Now, the next thing I really love about luxury travel is great service. Just walking in the door of the hotel and having them know your name is astonishing. These are places that get your preferences ahead of time so that you don't have to go through your dietary restrictions. You don't have to tell them that, you want a room away from the kids zone. Like, they already anticipate all of those things and have arranged for them ahead of time. And then at some of these places you stay, they'll give you a dedicated butler person who is there to arrange anything that you need. So you'll get their number on WhatsApp and you can just send them a quick message to ask for anything. It's kind of amazing. You can make changes to your reservation, you can make appointments at the spa, dinner reservations, call for a golf cart, whatever. Having that one point of contact is so special and so helpful, and it really, really spoils you. For me personally, I work in a service area. I am a VIP event planner, so I work with high net individuals all the time, and I constantly spend my days anticipating their needs. So for me, it's amazing to go to these places and have someone else anticipate my needs. And it totally fills my cup up, and it gives me ideas and gets me refreshed to go back to work and dive back into service. I love, love, love great service. Along with service, at so many of these luxury properties, you just get amazing little details. This can really be anything from having sunscreen in your room to like dropping off aloe after you get a sunburn, which has happened to me. That happened to me in the Maldives, and like they showed up with like calamine lotion because they noticed I got burned, which was both delightful and horrifying at the same time. But even like if you stay at a Four Seasons, you know, I left my jewelry out on the countertop in the bathroom. And when I came back, they had put a little leather tray and arranged all of my jewelry in the leather tray. They wrapped all our cords up in like little cord wraps with the Four Seasons logo on them. They left a bookmark on my book. These little touches are just so, so special because they make you feel like they're really looking out for you and they like notice what you're doing and they want you to have the best stay possible by removing any obstacles that you might have. They really, really cater to you. And the last great pro of luxury travel is that it is truly relaxing. You don't have to worry about a thing because everything's taken care of. So this is great if you are looking for a relaxing vacation. Now, if you're looking for a trip, it might not be the same. But if you are looking for a relaxing vacation and you don't plan to leave your room or the resort, then you might as well make it a really nice room at a really nice resort. Okay, now that we've talked about some of the pros, some of my favorite things about luxury travel, let's talk about some of the cons. First of all, the most obvious one is the cost. I mean, you can expect that by adding that like luxury tag onto it, your price is going to increase at least fourfold. That means a trip that was $3,000 is now going to cost you like $12,000. So you really, really have to decide if it is worth it to you to spend that kind of money on a trip. The second thing I don't love about luxury travel is that it can be really isolating. You don't get a lot of like actual cultural immersion unless you really make the effort. If y'all watched the last season of White Lotus, they depicted this so brilliantly because those people were holed up at a luxury resort in Thailand. It's actually the Four Seasons Thailand, but in the show it's called the White Lotus, right? So the only like cultural experiences they got, we had one couple who went out to a snake show, which was obviously like a tourist trap. And then you had the three ladies who went out on their like crazy adventure day and it was too much for them. They were so overwhelmed. They couldn't handle the like water fights of the little kids and they panicked and like had to go back to the resort. So if you never leave the resort and you have to like really make an effort to leave the resort because a lot of these places are quite isolated. So you have to like book a car or really put in that effort, right? You don't get to really interact with a lot of locals who aren't actually working at the resort. And of course, like the locals who are working there, like they are their most like cleaned up, westernized version of themselves. So you really don't get a lot of like cultural immersion. You don't get to know a lot of the people. And I feel like that's where you really get to understand the spirit of a place. So to me, that's a huge downfall of traveling in a luxury manner. The other thing I don't love about being on a luxury trip is that it doesn't leave a lot of room for spontaneity. Now, when I travel, when I plan a trip on my own, I like to sort of set a few markers, like I know my hotel, I know when I'm getting there, I maybe book a car from the airport, and then like I'll book things that are frequently in use, so like museums or things that are hard to get tickets to, but otherwise I just leave it up for spontaneity. Like the rest we're just gonna go with. Being part of like a luxury tour group or being isolated as a resort doesn't allow you to do that. And so while you might be having a great time, you kind of wonder, like, what am I missing out of? And like, did I actually see the place if I never left the hotel? Probably not. So in the end, is luxury travel worth it? Well, like anything, it kind of depends. It depends on what you're going for. It depends on what your budget is. And it depends on what you really value as a traveler. However, all of this being said, there's one caveat here that I want to say about luxury travel, in that I think it is really location specific, because luxury in some places that are harder to navigate can be an absolute game changer to your experience. I'll use the example of like going on safari in Africa. Public transportation is either non-existent or not easy to navigate. The immigration customs experience can be quite tricky, and your actual destination is really, really remote. So having a luxury company that's going to guide you through all of this makes a big difference. Now, you could fly to Nairobi, say, in Kenya, and you can book a safari bus with total strangers, and they will drive you 4.5 hours to the Masai Mara, where you will go on safari and have a very similar experience to other people who are there seeing the animals. And then you will drive 4.5 hours back to Nairobi with strangers. Or you could fly in on a charter to a local airstrip and be picked up by your safari guide, your private guide, with your private safari car, and they will greet you with drinks and towels, and you'll have a lovely experience and get to know your driver and spend time with them, and they will whisk you away to your luxury tent where you can go take a shower. In that case, like, I know what I'm picking. But compare that to a trip to like Paris, say. If I go to Paris, I can walk, I can take public transportation, or I can Uber. And I'm gonna have a very similar experience to somebody who is taking a private car. It's an area and a region that is much easier to navigate, and I can get the same experience that somebody who's staying in like a fancy hotel is. I think this is a case where you can really balance out your luxury experiences. Maybe if you're nervous going into a place, you add on a VIP meet and greet, but you skip like some of the fancier dinners. Maybe you spring for the nicer hotel, but skip the business class tickets. Again, it all depends on what you value when you travel and how much money you want to spend. Anyway, I'm curious, if you have ever wanted to take a luxury trip somewhere, I want to know, where do you want to go? Throw it down in the comments below. Let's have a conversation. I hope you enjoyed this video. Until next time, go create a life you love. Bye!